Welcome back, my global citizens. I'm your man, Pharaoh, host of Stay Woke Podcast. I got my son right next to me, kicking off my brand new podcast, Colorism Unfiltered. I see you. I want to see you, the content of your character. I give two about the color of your skin. I want to focus on the content of your character, and my son here today is to help me kick off the brand new year by celebrating a non-religious tradition called Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is really celebrated to harvest the fruits of our labor, to unite as people. There are 7 days we're going to celebrate 7 principles and light 7 candles. Today is the first principle called Umoja, which equals or means unity. And when someone comes into the room and they say, Habari Gani, you say, Umoja. That is the unity. So my son will kick off Kwanzaa by lighting the unity candle. Son, please honor us and do the tradition of lighting the unity candle.
That's all right.
Here, got this. Yes, sir. Habari Gani! Umoja! Habari Gani!
Umoja!
Thank you, son, so much for kicking off Kwanzaa for us. Remember to like, follow, comment. I see you. Hey. Welcome back, my global citizens. I'm your man, Pharaoh, host of Stay Woke Podcast. That's my old shit. My new is the Colorism Unfiltered. I see you. And I got my brothers here today to help me celebrate the introduction of my new podcast. But first, what a great auspicious occasion to celebrate Kwanzaa. Brothers, talk to me what you know about Kwanzaa. I know, I put y'all on the spot. That's what I do. Holla at me. Kwanzaa going once, Kwanzaa going twice. Talk to me.
All right. So, what I know about Kwanzaa
Yeah.
is born out of the ashes of the watch ride.
Talk to me.
Where, and I can't remember the guy's name who started. Give me his name.
Dr. Malana Karenga.
Dr. Karenga.
Dr. Karenga, 1966.
Yes. And so, the watch rides was a time where people felt like they needed to rebel against what was happening, right? And so he felt that Kwanzaa we needed something for us, right? And so therefore, that's how Kwanzaa was born.
Mm-hmm.
That's my general knowledge.
Talk to me, King.
So Kwanzaa for my generation is it was introduced first at the Proud Family episode.
Okay.
Too much like, oh, I know a little bit.
We know the Proud Family, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so obviously it's a family kid show, so they can't get into it. Disney. But in Kwanzaa, at least on that episode, I would say the general knowledge that we all took away from that is just unity, family, the alternative to Christmas. I guess that push leading out of that uprising is anytime. It's always going to be a push for unity, and I think with Dr. Karenga, that was kind of the idea.
Sure.
Of this was like that. I guess a platform,
yeah,
more so than anything else.
Sure.
Because I don't know if he had it all together in terms of.
I don't think he did either. But he was trying to put something in, especially after a riot, right?
Yeah.
Reform.
To reform, right? Yeah. So, true, the Watch Riot, right? I think in 1965, it lasted 5 days. I think August 11th to August 16th. Marquette, I believe his name Fry, 21-year-old black man, driving drunk in his car, right, got pulled over, right? So the officer, pulled him over. The guys, I guess he's irate. Someone in the car goes, gets his mom who lives close down the street. His mom and his brother come back to the car. A fight ensues. Somehow it comes out of that someone got clubbed who was pregnant, and a lot of things. So people took to the streets every single day for 5 days, rioting and looting in the Watts area. Dr. Malana Karenga, after the Watts riot subsided, really thought that African Americans had no place to really ground ourselves here. We were brought over as slaves for 400 years in chattel slavery, then freed, and then we need to develop some kind of culture. One, we're disconnected from the motherland, Africa. Two, we have no true roots here, so we needed to create something. So Kwanzaa was born out of this need, like you say, to do what? Unite, right? So I think these principles, Kwanzaa is grounded in 7 principles called Nguza Saba. Nguza Saba. 7 candles representing 7 inherent principles. Now, this is a non-religious holiday, which I love, but it didn't start that way. What was he talking about when he first started? He thought this was a replacement for Christmas. Now, Dr. Karanga, he was on that shit, bro. I mean, because nobody gonna give up Christmas for no matter what. It's not happening here. I don't care what you say. We all love getting gifts. But talk to me, what's your thought about that when he was thinking about replacing Christmas? What was his thoughts around it?
Well, I think that the idea was kind of like that rip the band-aids off kind
Okay.
of solution. It's we need to push, we need to go so extreme, get cold turkey, we need to just completely get rid of everything. And I think that that's good for some people. Majority of people need the context, right? Like you need that, like that grace period. You need that segue of like, oh, we could kind of like start to adopt this into a Christmas, or like you can't just completely wholeheartedly do that to a generation of people who have grown up 4 generations.
Sure, fair enough.
This time of year we're getting gifts. I mean, look at it like this. It doesn't matter what group of people you have now, Vietnamese, Asian, like whatever, right? You could find any group to this day, and they don't like religiously practice Christmas, and they still exchange gifts.
So it's all about getting gifts.
It's all about getting
gifts. Nobody really. Go ahead.
I don't think he was really trying to replace Christmas.
Because
he started it the day after Christmas, right? So if you want to replace something, right, you replace
fair
it
enough.
at the time.
Fair enough.
Happens, and he kind of knew probably I can't compete with Christmas.
But
while people are still in this spirit, let's start something that's like right behind.
In the holiday day.
In the holiday time.
And initially he started, it was really only for African Americans, but I think he thought these principles are something that everyone can kind of connect with. This is why I believe Kwanzaa is really crucial here. More crucial for African Americans, that I think it allows us to revolve or collate around key aspects that ground us here in American culture, right? Based upon our experience as African Americans here. But not everyone will buy that, because Christianity has such a fucking tight hold on our entire country. And I'm saying that to say, let me just be controversial, because in iColorism Unfiltered, this new podcast, that's the unfiltered part. I don't believe in God. I don't think God exists. I think God is another one of those social constructs like black and white in order to control the narrative here. We've relinquished all our connections to white slavery except for his or God. And why is he a he? Couldn't he be a she? I thought God was an entity or a spirit. Why did they give him physical form? But I digress.
You do.
I digress. I brother don't bring religion into it. Still, Kwanzaa. But I'm saying it to say this, right? I think his idea around that time and how we embraced Christianity so heavily was part of our function and how we prayed. But it wasn't really changing the narrative, because he introduced additional principles in conjunction with that. Now, I'm not trying to say he was replacing it, but let's talk about it. So out of this tradition, I think for many years after Dr. Karanga introduced Kwanzaa to America, I think in the 60s and 70s and 80s, these kind of coincided with our Black Power movements, right along with us having pride in who we were. But somehow I feel, and hence is why I'm bringing this back up and bringing Kwanzaa back into the picture, is that we've lost that succession planning. We've lost our history and how this movement toward making African Americans in America, prosperous economically, socially, politically. Right? I don't think we found our ground yet. I think we're smarter independently. We're not smarter collectively, right? Collectively. So I think we need a national Black agenda. Something that speaks to all African Americans across the entire country. And so I'm saying this, I'm pontificating on my stand to say this, is that I think Kwanzaa is a mechanism to unite us and still allow you to be who you are religiously. Even though I said, I don't believe in God. Right. And I digress. I don't discount, and so this is what I was struggling with, right? That I have to, I have to accept that some people are going to practice Kwanzaa that believe in God. Okay, fair enough. What does that mean for us, right? So I wanted to have, thank you, next generation, for stepping in, coming in and hanging out with the successive generation. But the plan is that today, December 26th, is the first principle called Umoja. And the way it works, folks, is that Habari Gani is the greeting. It means, what's the word? What's cracking for the day, right? So today, December 26th, when I go Habari Gani, gentlemen, I need you to go Umoja, which is the principle for today, meaning unity. Got that?
Got it.
And then what we're going to ask this young man to do, our future generation, is to light our unity candle, which is the black candle in the center. Got this?
Yes.
All right, brothers. Habari Gani.
Umoja.
Habari Gani.
Umoja.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, but I'm going to need y'all to put some more emphasis in that.
Okay.
Fucking thing was that, y'all.
Okay,
All right, you ready, my brothers? Let's go.
All right.
Habari Gani.
Umoja.
Habari Gani.
Umoja.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. So, brother, in tradition of Kwanzaa, please light our first unity candle. And what they do in celebration at the end, they say Harambe, which is kind of the greeting, like, we got this. But I probably stole this from Wakanda forever. But so we ready down. You lit the unity candle. Thank you very much, my brother. Greatly appreciate it. Harambe. Harambe. You guys can do that with me.
Oh, okay. Stop on action.
Folks,
Yeah, give us the structure.
okay,
Gotcha.
folks, that's the sharpest group. No, no, I love you, my brother. All right, so tradition after we light the candle, we go Harambe 7 times. You ready?
7 times.
7 times. Give it all you got.
All right.
Ready?
Ready.
1, 2. Harambe, 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 Harambe. Harambe.
I'm like, y'all was keeping track of it.
That's 6%. No, I appreciate it, my brother. So, all right, let's dive into it. So, I thank you for the introduction, but part of the discussion of Umoja is really to talk about unity, right? So, there's 7 days of principles we discussed. Today, I'm so grateful to have my brothers, which we're going to go around the table, do a brief introduction, whatever you want to share about you, profession, and then let's talk about how we're going to unify. What does that look like in our families? What does that look like in our communities? What does that look like in our nation? And then what that looks like as our culture? Let's talk about it. Sir, who are you and why the hell are you here?
I'm Reggie Brookins. Guess I should be looking at
That way.
All right. I'm Reggie Brookins. I am a career educator.
Principal, talk your shit, bro. Sorry.
Career educator
Okay, sorry.
/ mathematician.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Brother.
Ryan Aubrey. I think I do a lot of things professionally. I think what I would say I do in the same vein as Mr. Brookings is I'm a community builder.
Yes, sir.
I'm a community builder through and through, community organizer. I think it kind of speaks a little bit to, I mean, that's what a lot of people are. Like,
Yeah.
we're all community organizers in our own way, right? You're organizing at the educational level, organizing the minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're learning. And we're learning here tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
So in that sense, you're also educating.
Okay.
If you're doing the same thing, then we're all organized.
Bro, stop trying to steal my thunder, bro. Don't try to make me, listen, let me be who I want to be. I need to be the rebel in the group. Folks, y'all know who I am, Pharaoh Musa, host of Stay Woke Podcast, and my new podcast, I Colorism Unfiltered, I See You. This is really focused on content, right? Character, not the shade of our skin. So I'll be talking a lot of shit as we move along. Let's go. So first, now, I'm going to pontificate, as I do, right? For our families, I really believe the black family, right, is one, they say that it's disjointed, but I feel that we have a strong connection. I don't know how much we carry that through other aspects, like our education, social and political. I think we unite on a more fundamental cultural level and an entertainment level, but I don't know if we promote as much of our education, our political acumen, and our social acumen. Talk to me. Family. Unity around the family. What do we need to do better in our family situations here? Talk to me. You're a new generation too.
Well, I think that you guys' generation is the generation removed from that, right? You guys were born in the 60s. You were born in a time when Kwanzaa.
Boy, you trying to call my age out?
No, I'm not.
You just gonna say my age right on TV.
I didn't put
How you know I was born in the 60s?
If I was.
No, I got you.
So
Fair enough.
You're
Yes.
born in the aftermath of that, right? And so everything that transpires in that lack of the handoff and that lack of the succession, that's like you guys growing up. Well, the result of that is we go from the Watts riots, right? And then we go to the next major riots in LA, which is LA 1992. Now that's my generation. Now we're getting brought in after that, right? So when you look at things like Swahili and where it's, created as we're, what did you say, pontificating? I would argue that it is interesting that Swahili was created with, it was created in Africa, but like in mainstream use in Kwanzaa in LA.
Yeah.
And it didn't transfer over to us now using it as another language within
Fair
LA.
enough.
Outside of, in the prison correction system,
Okay.
outside of in the streets,
Okay.
right? Because I know a lot of people that speak Swahili
Okay.
and don't realize it.
Oh wow.
And it's not because they're speaking it because they went on Babel or something, free promo, but it's because they learned it,
That will
through
cut that
system.
check if you try.
Yeah, they learned it through that system, right? And so I think when we look at the family unit and where it's disjointed and how that kind of intergenerational thing happens, well, my generation grew up in a disjoint. Like, that's all we know. So you couldn't explain to someone my age or probably younger that there is no unity. There isn't a sense in that, right?
Okay.
We're here, well, I don't say where we are, but in LA you have Crenshaw, you have Leimert Park. These are like black staples, right?
Sure.
I was at the Marathon store today.
Okay.
And we love it. You know what the argument is?
What?
Some people say it should be called Africatown. Some people we working on these projects, Destination Crenshaw, and, to really create these ethnic enclaves for ourselves as black people here. Yeah. The issue is that Crenshaw is named after a man that was likely not too fond of black people.
He probably wasn't, right?
I said it politically.
Yeah, right.
I
was saying, my podcast. That motherfucker was racist as fuck. Let me look up Crenshaw, see who he was.
Sure.
All right.
Before we was even allowed to.
Right, exactly.
But if you go to Crenshaw today, you go to Leimert Park today, you're going to see a lot of people who were born there who take pride in Crenshaw, who take pride in Leimert. And so do you remove that part of history to recorrect that part? Or do you say, you have to adjust and adapt and create something new that kind of pulls from both ends,
You want to take that?
Yeah, well, that's a deep element.
Yeah.
But, I want to go to your point about the family being disjointed.
Yes.
Right? And, historically, our black families we were programmed to be disjointed, right? Because they separated families from slavery time.
Sure.
Right? And still today, I think our families are not as strong because we don't have traditional families. Right?
What is traditional family? What does that mean then?
Traditional family is...
So I want to challenge that. What does that mean?
Traditional family is father, mother, same household.
Okay.
Children together as a family.
And you believe statistically that will read better children out. I'm just asking, because if you say tradition, that must mean then, because this is a common thought, right?
Yes, it is. Well, you can look at the research. Statistically, it does.
Okay.
Right? And if you look at other cultures that have that structure, statistically, financially, they are in a better place.
Fair enough.
Right? And so, therefore, our family structures have always been disjointed, right? And so we're not in a movement we're probably in a movement now of more disjointedness around that than it was in the 50s and the 40s and the 60s, right? And so I don't know, we're probably at a point where that may not ever turn around, right? We're probably getting more and more disjointed when it comes to traditional family values in the African American community, that hopefully there may be something may come about to change that. But when you look at the influences of the youth, it's probably not, right? So now,
then help me understand how you believe that family structure then leads to progression or progress with the children going forward.
Right. Well, partially that family structure builds wealth in some sense.
Okay.
Right? I'm gonna explain. Right. Two parent households are more economically stable
Okay.
than a single
Fair
family
enough.
household. Right?
Mhm.
So when there are multiple people working towards the same goal
Okay.
of building, and then the children see that, and then they believe and keep on moving amongst that same vein. Right?
Okay.
Now, so
Fair
that may, and if you look at other cultures that probably maybe have a more traditional family structure, there is evidence to support that.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Is it? So let's take that a step further.
Yeah.
When you look at stats on that,
Yes.
is it broken down by culture?
Oh, here we go.
Right?
I know where you're going. So.
Of course I am. 'Cause I'm challenging traditional.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're right. I do believe in that structure, that family traditional structure really works
Mm-hmm.
in a great environment
Mm-hmm.
that's good for you to proliferate and grow in. You
Mhm.
aren't challenged by the color of your skin,
Mhm.
right? I think there's other factors
No doubt.
that compound that not only do you need a traditional structure, but you need an environment that's not always hostile towards you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's just my thought.
Yes.
But go ahead and talk about the traditional family, because it's really important here when I think that it's no longer applicable for us because the territory is so hostile, we can no longer take the traditional approach. I don't want to say by any means necessary,
Mm-hmm.
but by any motherfucking means necessary. Let's talk about it.
So what's your question?
My question is, does that traditional family structure you talked about that help economically apply culturally across the board in America?
No.
I had two working black parents, mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
I go on the street.
Yes.
I'm still fucked with.
Yes.
I'm still harassed.
Yes.
I can still live my life.
You can.
So, what are we measuring?
I think what he's speaking to
Go ahead.
is the history, right? It's the context. So like going back to the 50s and before, we had something called segregation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was homogeneity within the community. So even though we're still hostile, we still had those, it's a good book too. I am going to promote post-traumatic slave disorder.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. But even though we were emancipated and we were free and we were still, living in Jim Crow, living wherever you were living in the country, but we were in our own homogenous group society to where, like, if you're going to school with all other black kids.
Right.
You're going to school with
Yeah.
all, so you're going to meet a girl, get married, and, so even when things went wrong, it's like that show, and I hate to quote this show.
I'm hearing segregation was good. That's what I'm hearing.
Jesus Christ.
Did y'all just... Folks, we about to fight. I'm about to fight my brother here. I know it's a unity candle here, but we about to disunify. No, talk to me. Because
The pros and cons.
yeah, but talk to me.
And that's
Because
what I'm
this is a really good point, because this is the
Yeah.
Candace Owen point. This is some of the other black conservatives that talk, but there's a key element here historically that people are stunted on, but I want to allow you guys to get the thought out first. Go ahead, brothers.